Let's talk about what happened to Brian Peck after what happened in Quiet on Set. So if you watched the documentary, you know that Brian Peck was an actor on Nickelodeon shows in the 90s and also was an abuser. And you also know that after he went to jail for a very small amount of time for abusing Drake Bell, he was hired to a Disney show. And I thought that was so weird. Like, how could he have ever gotten hired to another show again? So I looked him up. And you might be shocked to know that he's actually worked on multiple shows and movies since. According to his IMDb, his last project was in 2018, but up until then, he had worked on a lot of different projects since his arrest. And one of those projects was a short film called Queer and Teen, in which he played a sex ed teacher. Which, if you're wondering, the logline for that project is Havoc consumes a high school when students are infected with the gay. I also found it ironic that he has a bio on IMDb in which it highlights working with Bryan Singer and Dan Schneider, which at this point we all know what Dan Schneider's been accused of, but Bryan Singer is not much better. And I actually looked this up after I listened to this episode of Pod Meets World, in which Ryder Strong talks about seeing Brian Peck a few years ago at a party in which he was still talking about all the projects he was working on and all of the actors he was working with. Anyways, I just thought I would share because in the documentary it makes it sound like, oh no, he slipped through the cracks and he got onto Zach and Cody and they immediately fired him and tried to remedy that mistake. But no, he ended up working on other projects as well. It's not like his career was ruined by this at all.